Всем добрый день.
Good afternoon to everyone, dear friends. Thank you for joining us today. We'll do whatever we can to make it an unusual, cool, and exciting event, and maybe even provocative. I'm Nikolay Kozak. I'm managing director of DOM.RF, where I'm looking after IT and digital transformation. I would like to introduce, let's say, the heroes of our discussion, of our panel, who will be discussing their experience, their troubles, their problems and challenges. Mr. Fetisov, the one. Mr. Putyatinsky, MSKB. Nikolay Ulyanov, Rosselkhozbank. Ilya Sivtsev, Astra Linux. Ilya, I congratulate you with your successful IPO. It's cool. It's really cool. Is that correct? Maxim Grigoriev, IFT. Alexey Shelobkov, YADRO. What is our agenda for today? We are not going to talk about import substitution. Well, it's really, the issue is really tiresome. We'll be talking about what has been done in Russia, what has been invented in Russia, and we'll add a positive note to that, because there is now an opportunity and a window so that Russia, in terms of mathematics, AI, radio electronics, will become the same thing as Novosibirsk academician borrowed many years ago. I have prepared a set of standard questions as written on iPad. I'm not going to read it through iPad. I nearly dropped it. No. I will read from my script. I will be asking questions, and I warn in advance that we would like to have some questions from the floor. Any questions, and the panel will answer earnestly. We'll start with a minor explosion. We're in FinTech, and we know that very soon, on the 1st January of 2025, we'll have to replace a lot of things in our banking and IT infrastructure. Sergey, the question's to you. What are we going to do with banking systems and processing? Well, now it's well, I hope that the paper is produced in Russia, at least it's our paper. From Russian brochures. Automatic banking system is ours and processing is ours, but underpinning it are things which are not ours. We talked about our colleagues, whether we'll succeed on January 1st, 2025. People are not certain. Probably yes, but maybe not. But frankly speaking, if I, well, have you done your own in-house audit? Well, definitely. Well, it's not an official audit, but if we as technicians would audit us on the 1st of January 2025, we would substitute everything with our domestically made things. So far it's not. If we talk about the automatic banking system, the replacement of virtualization system or a replacement of hardware with operating system, it will take months to do it. Well, here we have people who are bosses now, but some of them are former engineers, and we have on the floor plenty of technical staff who broadly smile when their bosses discuss the 1st of January. But Well, if we need to test a new contour, and we'll have to replace not only SUBD, but the hardware, the operating system, and the new applications. Data migration, and people who have done it know how much time it will take testing all the business logics, because the logics cannot be transferred. The bosses think that that the system of management of databases is just a nameplate. No, it is a very sophisticated thing. And once you do it, then there is testing under charge. It will take months. We're in November now. Who of those present here switched to charge testing and is at the stage of adjustment of crypto codes of data migration? Well, you can produce a report, make a formal statement, and then pray. But after that, the system will fail. Something has not converted, something doesn't work. Well, there is an option just to follow the orders and to lead the organization in the case starting from the 1st of January 2025. But if we look at the scripts for migration, rewriting of the functions, etc., functionalities, this process, well, when we talk about normal people, may take years. We're in November. IT people are not normal people, are not conventional people. Maybe lazy IT people take a year for that. Well, in our bank, we replaced the automatic bank system, but it took us more than a year. We completed a year and 3 months. In fact, we set a record, not only the nucleus and not the commutation center, but everything. Well, I set a record, maybe I'm a record holder. People do it normally during 2 or 3 years, and now we're in November. And so far, the challenge is unsolvable. I would like to thank you for your view. It is correct from the technical point of view, and our common objective, our mutual objective, is to find a solution, because Russian FinTech probably is the best, and it was created largely by the people who are among our audience. We want to make a step forward, not 2 steps backward. We are doing quite a big job now to succeed. It's not only processing and the automatic banking system. There are other operating systems which are essential for any bank. Nikolay, the question is to you. Where you succeeded and where you failed, what is good, what is bad, what can be improved? Can you share your view on that? Thank you for the question. I will take a minute to munch correct words of Sergey. We are approaching the final testing, but we have a sober view of the success. By the end of the year and early next year, probably we'll complete the testing, and then we'll see whether the solution that we propose as the baseline will succeed. But it's not only automatic banking system which makes a bank. There are other systems around it and inside of it and outside of it. Probably the simples are simpler or more straightforward. Probably we have more experience. But in this case, in our case and with other banks, things are moving faster. We have 18 solutions in the universal register of Russian central bank. Our main solution that we introduced the common platform, it's application platform. We call it App Farm because we finance farmers. It does 6 million transactions per day. We move this way. It's our in-house development. We engage only two of our captive companies, but as for new vendors whom we find in the market, we make them onboarding only on our platform and with our solutions. We are Bank 91R, which this an instruction which strictly forces us to meet the requirements of import substitution. Then, as for infrastructure, it's more difficult, it's common knowledge, but there is a positive side to the story already. We have a V unit, virtual unit. It's a unit of measurement of processing capacity and servers. This V unit, while it was assembled on the HP Stake variant, the other operational system, will cost ruble per ruble about 20% cheaper when it is assembled on our stack and on domestic servers. Yes, indeed. We have not completed the switch, and we cannot say that we're 100% on this new stack. But there are cases where success is noticeable. There are sophisticated equipment, 400, 800, which is not on sale, and you cannot order it because, well, the critical mass is not there. There are quite a lot of, let's say, day-to-day problems. We don't have MFUs. And, well, ATMs are not available. No, ATMs are available. We need transport passes, but I cannot put it on a cash desk in a store. And the state puts additional pressure on us, requires that we meet our key personal indicators requirements. There is another subject, macros for office. We examined our financial people and our economists, and risk people as well. We have a macros with 100,000 lines. We have never seen it in any other places. It's a sort of application in its own right. And now we have two areas. There is an area of Python, and we can use JavaScript for this purpose, although it doesn't work very good. But we believe in the final success. And let's say the bulk of indicators will be met, like in the joke. Well, either a taxi, markings, or a ride. Mr. Fetisov, a question is to you. Huge company, a lot of developers, a lot of vendors, plenty of products. Even two questions. What is your take of import substitution? What you do on your own? What is your view of the market? And secondly, what is the situation with your personnel? How you retain and hire people and how make your employees happy? I will start with the first question. From the perspective of import substitution, it's not in the course of import substitution, it would be very nice for our clients to look at their internal process. Their example of macros for 100,000 lines, maybe people address the current objectives while using, let's say, tools from scratch, it appeared that the key production system was on a PC, which it was developed by a person who left the company several years ago. What I'm driving at, that you should take a systemic approach to import substitution. As an example, let's look at the automatic banking system, upper floors, frontal system, applications, etc. Everyone is operational. Processing banking system, historically, how it developed. You take a big base of a well-known vendor, then you use the hardware from another vendor, and for years you add functions, business process, settlements, back office, etc. And after 10 years, you have a monster, a behemoth. And on a single, very expensive piece of hardware, it's very good if you have another one as a standby. It's not a technical problem. It's not a technical problem. You need to change processes. You need to change approaches and to select functions, to make a system to suit these functions, to change process. Why I'm skeptical about any attempts to rewrite banking systems just using a new base. A smart translator converts them into a different language. Well, you start to do it. What have you to repair? It doesn't work. The generator itself or the code. With the major client, we decided to start from scratch and on a storage platform to create an automatic banking system. Not a huge one, but several smaller ones.
Which are substantial for deposits, for credits, etc. Talking about the import substitution in FinTech, we are quite positive on that score, but we do not like 2025. But strategically, I think that this issue will be streamlined by the industry. We really have to catch up, or maybe they will allocate some more time to us. Also, HR. HR is very substantial for us. The market has been modified to a large extent over the past year and a half. And yes, we would like to see people with us, to retain them. And not to use the word talent management, but to use the mechanism which will allow the people to get trained internally in the company. Talent management is not the right term for us. We don't have to use the English words here, otherwise everything will be immediately turned off. Okay, HR management, HR document flow. So getting back to the Digital Academy, it trains the staff in-house, and we organize the series of conferences named Impetus. And our staff takes part in these conferences. And from the perspective of the market landscape, and we have one idea in the air at the level of junior. And originally they have this qualification for IT staff. Our key idea is to train them and to integrate them into the company. Alexey, thank you so much. I gave you both the floor so that they highlight their ideas, and I would like to put a provocative question. Ilya, let's start from the positive aspect, and you will speak neutrally. Ilya, how did you manage to do it? Was it a hard job? And what about other companies to produce hardware and software? Will you please speak about the IPO process? Yes. So we need some basic goals to reach, and we are working with the options for HR and motivations, and also we are going to sign the 3-year options, and these are not just the key managers plus the CEO. No, this is the personnel, the smart people, architects, enablers, so the key developers. And also, it influences the technological partners and our clients that everything will work well for us. We are a serious company and a responsible company, and it may raise good resource. It has the corporate governance, which is a proper one. And that is critical for all our technological partners who have big stakes. If we have the database to structure, we invest quite a lot of money. And it's interesting for him to know that everything looks good for us, that everything is okay with us, and that we may raise funds and operate at the labor market. And these are the key items to identify. I should not say that it was quite a complicated process. No, it was a cool process, in other words. So everyone will leave us and start getting and being incorporated into that process to make it cool and smart. So I didn't have any expenses for IPO embedded for 6 months. Budget prices, should be the end of the discussion. We did not grow prices. I think it's a cool way for us and a cool manager's expertise for me and for the team. We do not want to distract the attention of our technical specialists. We dealt with CLO. And I think that was the best IPO of the Russian market. We had 24 times subscription, and by 24 times more, we acquired money. And so we trust the company. We believe it. We have 5% as a result of this IPO subscription, and the company may grow by 25, 30 times, and we may replicate the expertise of the cool Western monsters and provide this similar type of products. On the whole, I should say that IPO was a very successful one, and Astra's success will again initiate the boom of IPOs, and that is a cool thing for the Russian economy. When our citizens have dollars at the repo and deposits, how does it develop the economy? They purchase the bonds and shares of the Western companies or American companies, and they're always blocked. No, they should go, these deposits and funds should go to the real sector. Nowadays, we are operating at the market with small-sized companies. We had one company with 6 billion rubles originally. Now we have the big strategic goals. It will be worth, the revenue will be worth 50, 60 billion. And we, being a small-sized company, managed to become a champion at the market. I will be more than happy to help you to negotiate with the analytics and with the market. And this is a real success story. Do we have some people in the audience to acquire shares of the company? It was a provocation. Ilya, thank you. Alexey, the question goes to you. What about the plants, enterprise, alliance, reprimands that you use different labels? Please cite your expertise, whether it's real painstaking or cool. And you are an Iron Man, finally. And as you got the result, as you are a victorious guy, How did you manage to do so? And what was not so successful? I looked through the records of our discussions last year. We had a session dedicated to more or less the same subject. But I think we have people in the audience. And we were discussing something like the first shock. So everything is ruined. Yes, we have to use our in-house hardware. But a year later, what has been changed? And I started to compare the numbers, and we actually never planned to be successful. We had 216, and nowadays we have doubled this number, and half of them are engineers. On the 15th of April, we opened the second plant in Dubna, and issued more than 15,000 servers, not just assembled in Russia, but produced in Russia, which makes a big difference. And I'm talking about quite a number of other products, servers, data warehousing, and etc. And just summing up, I should say that last year we talked about the trust, and it was a very exemplary story. 3 weeks ago, we announced the second generation of the data warehousing systems, and Gen 2. And I realized that the corporate clients do not like the new products, and people are shouting from horror. And so the corporate clients, once they start buying the new products, have to undergo quite a long-term testing. So we would like to acquire the second generation. We know your company. We trust you. Even if we have any problems, you'll immediately finalize your products, and it's real great. And this year, we have become real good winners in our segment, thus acquiring the trust as well. And we are doing everything fast. And there are quite a number of products being developed at the corporate segment, all in network devices, so clouds, data warehousing, everything what we need for data processing centers. And it's a very optimistic road. So, we were the public company 15 years ago, and this was the nucleus program. But our key value is a shareholders' value. And you always get a result, not for the case of a long-term success, but meet the needs of the client and give him some discount rate and even be in the minus. But yes, I would like just to pop in. Yes. Yes, we have Alibaba. They have a very cool philosophy. Client goes first, then goes an employee, and then the price for shares. But if the price goes up or down by 30%, what happens then? The Russian market is kind of a fluctuating one, and yes, it's a cool thing to have a number of new companies. So IPO, new exchanges, yes, it's a good thing, but we do not have to turn onto the Western market when the price share is of greatest value. And if something goes otherwise, companies hold investments. So we have to reach the balance. Alexey, thank you so much. I'm going to invent a TV. We have so many TVs, homemade TVs, about 50%. And we have iPads, clients' devices. Yes, that's it. Maxim. Maxim, you are putting accurately everything on your paper. Will you please comment on that? How you see us all as you do manage the FinTech Association? It's a cool association. You have quite a number of analytical work. You negotiate, you communicate. What has been reached? Was it for good or for bad?
Wear the same kind of socks. You may avoid it. You've broken my play script. What happened? Where we succeeded, where we failed. As Alexey says, really the shock is behind us. It's in the rear view mirror. And over this year, based on the current conditions, we managed to start working in a more or less systemic way. We soberly assessed where we are, what we can do ourselves, where we need cooperation, where we should collaborate with primarily friendly countries, where we should use the results of work of all other countries. And finally, we understood, and it is very important, that we should take a very cautious approach when we talk about switching to something new. Because either we make, let's say, the groundwork for further growth, or we will not be able to develop at the pace which we need. Probably, maybe we should formalize it. Technical people know that technology debt, it is created where we're forced to do some wrong things. There is a risk that when we do the next improper thing, wrong thing, we increase the technology debt to such extent that we'll not be able to, let's say, clear it in a decade. We may take a decision which will freeze us at where we are. There is an alternative. We can take this opportunity to switch to a new progressive architecture where all leading technology companies, they switch from monoliths to microservice. Nikolay prohibited the use of English words. Coreless architecture of automatic banking system, which is more advanced and which allows to better meet current needs in terms of flexibility and minimum time to market, etc. Adaptability. Indeed, we have a dilemma now. We face a dilemma. We will continue to talk about that. Maybe we'll do it together. Maybe. More or less from the perspective. Another important thing, maybe my colleagues will add something. We decided to take a closer view at what we consider really critical architecture. Probably we should take a more risk-oriented approach at it and rethink the list of critical elements in terms of implementation of domestic technology. Another important thing, we need to formalize the processes of secure development, which will allow going forward to use the stronger features of the Russian financial market the ability to develop really cool technology solutions from on the one hand. On the other hand, all these solutions should meet safety, security, and cyber security requirements. The Bank of Russia is now pushing us. The bank issued documents which will govern approaches to secure development. In principle, it can be viewed as a certain pressure, some restriction, but nevertheless, we'll have to do it given the current global cyber risks. All these controls should be in place. And we, with our colleagues, did a good thing. We created a community that dealing with secure development. FinTech SecOps, financial DevSecOps, in order to rally our forces to support best practices with a view to compensate for lack of competences. When we're in a community, it's easier to share experience. And another important thing, which brings me a lot of joy, at our last meeting, Nikolay, you mentioned that we are not afraid to exchange information, to share information between competition. This year demonstrated that indeed, in terms of openness, we're making big strides. In our association, we had a series of workshops, very useful meetings where vendors and participants of the financial market discussed architecture of their system, DOM.RF, RSKB, VTB, etc. And they provided an in-depth description of architecture and development of their platform, which underpins applied solutions. It's very good and gives us optimism. Since you've broken my script, I will add one important thing. In terms of what that's done, produced in Russia, made in Russia, we cannot forget about AI. Results of our research demonstrate a positive thing. 76% of companies which were surveyed, that's over 300 interviews, said that they use best technologies for development of AI. They use their in-house development or open source solutions. It's a very promising story, and it's exciting. We are one of a few countries which has their own national language models. DOM.RF made their own tests and compared the capacity of foreign language models with Russian big language models. Well, I don't want to deprive Nikolay of the joy of informing us. Nikolay will say, Mr. Shadayev will celebrate his birthday this Saturday. We'll be congratulating him. Well, if we forget about political correctness, what we'll ask Maxim to continue to do, and what we'll ask him not to do, what we'll ask him to stop doing, and where we'll ask him to change his approaches. And I share this responsibility fully. Who will be the pioneer? I will start. he should continue support our industry, because industry received huge governance support, and not only with the moves of some organizations, but with a particular person. IT people probably living in luxury, but the industry is growing. Technical parks are becoming bigger and bigger. There are new people with new ideas in our sector who join us. What should be cut short? Some solutions which are to be implemented by a certain date. Historically, we are used to this, let's say, model that by a certain day, the 7th of November, yes, well, to launch a production facility by the 7th of November. Well, we do it, that we are involved in that. Plenty of people are doing on that. Yesterday we discussed it with Mr. Menshov at the Roundtable. Everyone is doing it. There is heavy investment, including private investment, which is the best sign of the fact that everything is positive. Private investor, not public investor who invest in creation of production facilities, vote with their own money for import substitution to take place, and the industry will be able to produce both software and hardware. And the huge amount of private investment is evidence of that. Can you talk to us decently, not giving us just orders, but talking to us like what can be done, what cannot be done, what are realistic time frames, where we should let's release the grip, maybe. As for what should be done differently, what should be done, yes, I probably asked it. What should not be done and what should be done differently probably goes under the same heading. Nikolay, probably you should encourage competition, sometimes even tough competition, because notwithstanding the fact that the colleagues were selected from quite appropriate companies for this discussion, and we cooperate with each other, we understand that everything is transparent, but generally there are a lot of problems in pricing. And I would like to ask Santa Claus to continue to fight for competitive market. We need competition to breathe. As for what should be changed, we need a risk-oriented approach, not just an order directive, but a risk-oriented approach which can be calculated properly. And in the recent 2 or 3 years, we understand where we can find risks. And when we weigh risks to make a transition, not a transition, and we may find out at the end of the day that by transiting will increase the risk. We may use the experience of friendly countries and to create a repository of protected versions of foreign-made software and to be prepared to use it till some time when we're sure that our transition will not collapse our industry. All top 50 banks have their own instructions to switch on the same day, and we know this date. I'm not going to give any advice, but we should prepare for that.
Therefore, I would like to change your approach to the risk-oriented approach. Yes, you have to embark on the same road as you used to do. The question arises whether we get to transfer to the new system. The question is when. The transfer is inevitable. and what is the weight of this risk. I would like to thank you all. We discussed it all together, and Maxim Igorevich did a lot for us, contributed a lot, and I would like to modify the notion of the critical data, and also that we are very active and intensive in some solutions, and we really have to have a pilot stage, find some bugs, and my intention is that the speed and suppression should be in place. The challenges and risks are to be adequate. And the second story to support and develop as how to deal with the fundamental science and with the educational institutions. We have quite a number of higher education establishments, fundamental science establishments, and the role of the government is real critical. And in order to get back to the same idea, I mean the protected depository of Western models, but we do not have to resort to these models. No, we have to have our own protected repository with filtration and with an open source at the nationwide level, and also the computer which is being controlled. That would be a good idea. Commercially, it's hard to do because we have to be responsible for very serious items. If you miss something, you might be blamed in extremism. And so we are keen on the safe and secure efforts. Large-scale companies are dealing with it, but it incurs inevitable risk. Thank you so much. Ilya, Alexey, I have other questions to you both. You have quite a number of institutions to control and monitor you. We have an issue of price, competition, and the market for production. So we discussed it on many occasions. And I was the one to initiate a scandal on Cypher. So my request is, what is our foreseeable future? Do we need to regulate price, whether they will grow in the future, and how to create a peaceful community and to generate a profit and to develop the economy? When by 8 times in a row you have the price growth and you have to protect the strategy of the digital transformation and prices grow again, what happens then? We have to write quite a number of documents to substantiate it. How are we going to streamline this issue? You somehow covered your friend. And the products which we are dealing with do not have this specific problem. Nevertheless, I have my own position to highlight. It is absolutely clear what is the level of our investments? How do we compose a team? What are the parameters of our work? What are those goals and objectives in order to develop our business? And as a follow-up, I would like to mention and cite Maxim Igorevich. So we have to get transferred. We have to press and influence our strategic partners. Microsoft may offer their solution within a monthly period, but what does that mean? These are synthetic tests, and we have some kind of a burden. But well, what happens then? Afterwards, there will be no influence, there will be no suppression, and we will translate the theory into practice and also allocate appropriate resources. And also, we have to retain the brains to this country. And we are coming across this dollar-euro exchange. We come across the Western salaries, and we raise prices. But my situation looks different. Much depends on the dollar and component parts, but as of the 22nd of February last year, we didn't grow prices. The inflation is skyrocketing in this country, and we are trying to oppose the talent market with the Western ones. And how many people could be hired abroad by the pet companies? Alexey, I fully agree. If you want to raise our prices, no, that is not about the price. That is about the problem. If we have to have our own industry to create, to produce, and to maintain their product, this industry cannot just emerge from the scratch. And the budget allocations do not work pretty well. And we do not have very many technologically productive companies. They are not budget companies. These are the companies using their own equity. It's whether to mention competition, but comparing our segment with others, I should say that we never competed with the Western vendors. We were not defeated. Even prices of the last 18 months, if we compare them, testifies to the fact that prices are even going down. And we have nowadays a parallel portal. Segments look different. If in the past the classical client said, I had a corporate standard, I want to do this and that, now we know with whom we compete. We are not competing with the Russian vendors, but with Asian vendors in particular. And they have very specific names, and they do not use the support, the government support, and the market has become very aggressive and arrogant, I should say. And the Russian market is closed for the foreign investors. No, that's not true. The Russian vendor may come to Russia and sell everything, but we cannot do it otherwise. 3 weeks ago, there was a large-scale competition organized with the representation of Chinese, but the prices were very low. Why do we invest into the industrial enterprises? We have to cut the production cost. And for that very purpose, we have the larger series and larger batches of products plant. And that enables us to compete with the Western colleagues and also to catch up with Oriental companies who use the subsidies of their governments, and we may even outstrip them. We are not subsidized. Our sector is not subsidized by the government. We only had some kind of soft loans in the past, and that's it. And no longer we have this privilege this year. So the price is a critical issue. And in our segment, we do not see that we somehow deteriorate our position, but the competition is still tough. I don't know why are you not asking for the support, but because you may interpret your product as the government order. The government order for whom? For Goshran? who bought service and that's it. All clients are individual ones. They are absolutely different as of the government support. So we're not talking about the government organizations. I promised to answer your question. Dear colleagues, the hardware price, I don't know how the contest was organized. My price for the hardware is absolutely competitive. And but as for the nucleus, for Russian-based has become higher by 4 or 5 times, as opposed to 2020, dollar-wise, not ruble-wise. But as to ruble-wise, it's a skyrocketing price. No, the price is not getting down. It's vice versa for us. For some people, the price will be low in dollars. What kind of competitions they had in the past? This is a big question mark. And the price has become higher dollar-wise. One big bank said the entire volume of production closes their annual needs. And the second factor is as simple as that. And we are not going to point fingers onto various colleagues. They said that any price may be given and our product will be acquired because some people are obliged to buy these products and they will pay the 5 or 10 times price. They are forced to do so. And the volume of production should grow. And actually, if otherwise, the price will grow further. As to the Chinese products, so there are quite a number of companies and systemic companies. No, Chinese no-name are not purchased. No one is real serious about the small-sized brands of China. And the vicious Chinese scheme and start competing at a low price, that is not true. We call it brain ring. Another factor to mention. They could have been less arrogant as our partners, the producers of hardware, but they will not act this way for 2 simple reasons. They do invest a lot. They are they still have to return these investments, and they have to enhance their production and also build up their production lines. And really, they have to return their own money and investors' money. Also, there is an objective factor. There is not such a crime which will not be committed by a capitalist if he is going to have a profit of 300%. And that's it. Sergey, thank you so much. We promised to have a fire, and we have time for one question from the audience. I like it very much. Yes, there is a question. Colleagues, some small life hack. Everyone discussed the 1st of January 2025. I would like to put a question. What is going to happen in the CBR of Russia on the 1st of January? Nobody will answer this question. We wanted to put everything on fire, but not at such extent. But let me think about the following. DOM.RF is within the construction and FinTech. And as to the construction, I do remember the industrial center of competences. and they launched this story, and we have to ponder it out that the Central Bank of Russia should have the same type of the center of competences. I would like to thank our brain ring, the contribution of the panelists. We tried to have a lively discussion, make it unusual and non-conventional. Thank you very much. Not all the issues were politically correct, and everyone stayed here. Let's go and start developing this country further, and FinTech is a locomotive of our industry. Thank you once again.